Hi, I'm Liz Cully, and welcome back to Cool, Cool, Cool. Each week, I give you a glimpse into what I think is cool and chat with a ton of people that are definitely cool. No topic is off bounds unless I guess it's not cool. Welcome to Cool, Cool, Cool. I love it when I have a guest on my show and I get a text after we record and it's like, you should totally have so-and-so on your podcast. They would have so much fun with you. 9 out of 10 times it works out. There's always the few where I'm like, I don't know about that. But I got really lucky because Rachel Scanlon, who's hysterical and quickly becoming so famous, connected me with someone that she and her podcasting partner had on their podcast. And his name is James Ford. And I was like, okay, I went on his Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, he's so cute. But like, what's going on here? Oh, okay, fashion. Like, you know, when you go on someone's Instagram and you don't know who they are and you kind of get a feel for them, God knows what people think when they go on my Instagram. They're probably like, what the fuck? Who is this person? I think people have that reaction to me when they meet me in person, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. But I went on James's Instagram and I'm like, oh my God, just on Netflix, like competition reality. Love it. Fashion. Okay. Into tennis. Obviously, I love that. But I got to be honest with you. We met, we talked. I'm in love. James is, you know, when I call somebody a sweetie little baby angel, I really mean it. But I love his aesthetic. I loved learning about how he got into fashion. I think fashion is in a weird place. We just had New York Fashion Week. I just watched the Supermodels on Apple TV Plus, which I 10 out of 10 recommend, especially if you're like a millennial Gen X, you'll die, because I remember the 90s and early 2000s so vividly with the Supermodels. And it was just, I think it was really well done. It's 4 episodes. I binged it all in one night. But I feel like that kind of sparkle and fun is missing a little bit from fashion. I gotta be honest. I think fast fashion has sort of killed the vibe. And I also just think like, I don't know, it's nice to meet someone who's fresh and has an interesting perspective. So, and also agrees with me on a very controversial queer accessory, which we'll get into in a minute. But yeah, it's really fun when you meet someone really honestly blind on your podcast and you just have an absolute ball with them. Didn't you have a podcast?
Yes, I did have a podcast.
What was your podcast called?
My podcast was called Outfit, and it was my master's thesis while I was doing a master's of arts in fashion journalism at USC. And basically, I went back to school because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I don't know if you know this or not, but I used to be an engineer. I used to work in construction for 4 years out of undergrad. And I was like, this ain't it. So
listen,
I went
James, I love a construction worker. I got to tell you. Into clothes, everybody knows I'm quite the vintage collector, but construction worker, music to my ears. Sorry.
Totally. There's like I just saw this. I have a bad like track record of like having an idea and then doing nothing about it. And then many weeks or months later, some fashion house has like done it. And anyways, I was going to make, speaking of construction, like a welder's jacket, like my take on a welder's jacket, which is oftentimes a very loose fitting single ply suede jacket with very simple buttons that is just meant to like protect you. Anyways. And then I saw some fashion house was like, here's our take on a welder's jacket. I was like, oh my God, not again. So anywho, I went back to school. I just signed up for any program that would accept me basically in some form of the arts. And I got lucky and got into this program, and they like force you to take classes in like every arts discipline. And I was like, perfect, because I don't know what I want to do. At some point I was taking comedy writing classes. Like that didn't play out. Like I'm not funny enough to do that. Anyways, I found fashion. And the truth was I also like wasn't that strong of a critic. Like I didn't really want to criticize what I saw. I was like, I would much rather take the heat. I would rather be criticized. I would rather do this and have somebody be like, I hate it. You know what I mean? And so I wasn't interested in going the journalism route. And so my professors were on board with that. They were like, great, maybe you should be making instead. Why don't you make a podcast about your take on this? And so thankfully they were very encouraging. and really let me take this program and sort of make it my own. And that's how I came up with Outfit, the podcast. And that is really how I got started in fashion, actually.
So you weren't critiquing anyone in this podcast? What were you talking about on this podcast?
No, I wanted to find the answer. It wasn't about outfits. Interestingly enough, they were like, well, wait, this is fashion. This is an audio medium. You can't see anything. And I was like, that's sort of the point. I have this like gnawing feeling of like, what is going on with like my community and being queer and getting dressed. And like, we're not signaling to each other, but in a way we are. And it's not like, the old school era of like hanky codes or anything like that from like the gay community in like the 80s and stuff. Like what are we doing now in modern times? Because like you can signal to people, but you know it, but you don't. It's more about like the trials and tribulations of simply shopping and then getting dressed and how to use shopping and clothes to have people, perceive you and treat you with the way that you want to be treated. And like, are we using this to our advantage? Or are we letting it sort of be a disadvantage to us? And what does all this mean? And like, I didn't find the answer in this podcast. I think there's a lot more to still be uncovered. But I tried and just talked to people who were working in fashion for queer people and what it meant to them. And just tried to sort of,
Oh my God, did you talk to Sarah Med? Do you know Sarah Med?
I didn't talk to Sarah Med, no.
Do you know who Sarah Med is?
I don't know who Sarah Med is.
Sarah Med may or may not have dated my wife before me. No big deal, Sarah. Okay. If you're listening, we're cool. Sarah Med created a direct-to-consumer shopping experience for queer folks, predominantly for, I would say, non-binary, trans, and, more mask-identifying queer women who had a really hard time shopping. Because I see my wife, like my wife does not wear dresses. She doesn't wear like whatever. She mostly, unless it's European fashion, which we could get really, if you want to go, we can get nerdy.
Let's go.
You might not see it with the vintage Tupac shirt on today, but for those of you who do follow my journey, you know I know. But unless it's like typically French, sometimes some designers out of Mexico City, but like those designers, the cuts aren't right for her or what she likes. And so she typically shops in the men's section. And I've seen it. I mean, I'm very, femme presenting. I have like two modes. I either look like a disheveled mom of 6 who works 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And whatever that song goes. Or I'm like out of control wearing some like banana cans vintage like Christian Dior that my friend Rob has sourced.
You know what I call that though?
What is that?
I call that range.
Yeah, but I have no middle. There's really a little middle.
You'll fill it in.
I mean, my middle is like, I had to try to figure out what I was going to wear today, and I'll give you the range. It was like this sick vintage Dolce & Gabbana 1996 corset, leopard or like tiger print with really cool pants. Actually, also Japan. Love the cuts that come out of Tokyo. Surface Support, which is an amazing designer, pants. Or I was like, do I wear this like leopard flowy dress? Or I had like a cowgirl outfit. And then I think, what did I land on? Oh, some like shit Rachel picked out, which like makes me look like a hot Beverly Hills housewife. But that was I was like, look, I don't even know where to go.
So that's like the trouble of getting dressed. And I have a lot of styling clients who like getting dressed was hard to begin with because you have so many like vibes or like attitudes or like, personas you want to like put out there. Right. And so when you are like a very creative sort of like enthusiastic person and you're like not afraid to be like, I like this, so I'm going to wear it, which is like where all of your strength and confidence in getting dressed comes from. So when you have a lot of that, it's overwhelming to get dressed. And then on the other side of it, if you don't have a lot of that, like innately, then, especially through pandemic, like your lifestyle changed, your body probably changed, your job changed, like you've aged a few years and people don't know at all like who they are and how they're going to use clothing to like either again, like add to that or let it subtract from that. And so like, there's just so much, there's getting dressed is like so hard and we don't really pay a lot of attention to it, but can like totally shift how you're going to like carry yourself that day.
Very hard. Also, you know what I've really learned? It's all about also before you leave the house. Here's a hot tip from me.
Hit us.
Put yourself in the position of what you're going to be doing most of that evening. So
Oh
like,
yeah.
for instance, tonight I'm hosting some shit and I was like, oh, this fucking outfit is great. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to be sitting on a stool. What does this look like whilst sitting?
Right.
And guess what? Didn't like most of them.
Wasn't good. Yeah.
So,
it was different.
Yeah. So, okay. Listen, construction is very tactile. You have really, I think, a great understanding of spatial relation. You understand how things work. Your brain can fit X to Z. So I really can see how fashion would be a very interesting artistic next step for you. What was the first piece of clothing that you made? And did it actually stay on?
Okay, the first thing I ever made for myself was, I want to say it was a pair of shorts, which I still firmly believe in. I have to do a lot of work to try to convince people to wear shorts. Most people do not like wearing shorts, but I'm a big shorts fan, especially in the summer. So I made a pair of shorts.
We have to pause because shorts to me, I did buy 2 pairs of shorts this summer. I felt like I should call 911 on myself. Shorts to me are just violent. They are, I am a curvy, no matter what I do in my life, I am like a curvy, I got thighs. Shorts were just not cut for people like myself. So I feel like shorts are it's like a crop top.
They can be tricky.
There's thing.
I think a lot of every single shorts that I've seen out there that are marketed as women's wear aren't cut well. They aren't the vibe at all. They're oftentimes really tight through the thigh, and then you either get like a Bermuda short vibe that cut off above the knee, or they are extraordinarily short and like you feel like a little bit.
That's the problem, because then the booty comes out.
Yeah.
Because I have shorts, they're like, because I have a small waist, and they're actually like very balloony that I bought.
How'd those work for you?
They're fine. I have 2 pairs. I mean, when I find something that works, I go for it. But the fact that you came out the gate with shorts, it really leads me to believe that you're a risk taker, James. A real risk taker.
I made a lot of mistakes with those shorts. I really love shirting fabrics. I think that like men's shirting fabrics are my favorite. Like I could go into like any fabric store and I'm probably going to go right to shirting, and like looking at like a wall of all like blues and white men's shirting is like the best. So what I did was I used white men's shirting material to make shorts, which is not what you do at all. And what I wanted to make was tennis shorts. So like think about like 1960s white men's tennis shorts. They're like short.
Yeah, with the little piping and like the little.
They've got like piping, and they don't have like an elastic waistband. They have like a tailored waistband with like an overlap and a button through. And I wanted those shorts, and I just couldn't really like find any that I liked. And so I was like, I'm going to make these. So I did a lot of stuff wrong, which is like using like a very lightweight material for shorts, for bottoms, for trouser, styling. I don't know if I still have them. And I also used a shoelace as like an added drawstring, which was a cool idea, but not quite the best executed. And I also remember I used like seam binding or like bias tape to sort of like give them like a dolphin cut, like a 70s track. Short, like rounded sort of hem thing. And honestly, though, a lot of those elements I still use. Like I love like the rounded curve. I love a dolphin short. I still use men's
dolphin short. I haven't heard. Is that?
I don't know if it's a technical term. I think
got it. I was gonna say, did you make?
I don't know. Maybe if you Google it, if dolphin shorts pop up, I don't know what you're gonna get, but I know what I'm thinking of. But a lot of those elements are still like pretty prevalent in what I do now. Is like using a lot of wrong materials in the wrong spot, but now like executed better. And there's just always some aspect of like tailoring mixed with like sport leisure wear mixed with like workwear, which again we talked about like the welding jacket. Like I love those 3 things, and those are what I draw from all the time. And I just put those in a blender and I mix it up, and then you get some weird, hodgepodge of that. And it turns out looking cool, or it doesn't.
Yeah, and then you just like redo it again. I
And you
mean,
just try again.
I can't imagine two sets of people, crews, vibes that are more different than like construction worker or even like, I'll take it even a step further, architect, GCs, welders, electricians, landscapers. I'll just go the whole. It's no surprise to you that I'm like redoing a 100-year-old house at the moment.
Yeah,
all my crew, you know?
Yeah. Imagine your crew. Yes.
Then fashion, because I have to tell you, I did go to the new school. I was in a very interesting class of my Parsons brothers and sisters. It was like Alexander Wang was in my grade, Ryan Corbett, like all of them. My friend Catherine Kowalski, who did my wedding dress, who was incredible. But like, I grew up with those people. I work at Vogue, basically, Vanity Fair. It's a very different crowd. I think fashion folks, I talked about this with Hunter Abrams, who's the sweetest little baby angel on the planet on this show. It's a tough crowd.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it is.
Actually, while I think in some regard is really inclusive-ish, it's not really inclusive-ish. So how do you go, like, what is the vibe? Is it different because you're in LA? Because maybe you had a different background that you then took that experience into fashion? Like, because you seem very chill to me.
Yeah, I mean, the nature of fashion is very stressful. So I carry like a substantial amount of responsibility on my shoulders, but this is supposed to be fun. And like, if I am not enjoying doing it and making it and presenting it and thinking about it and marketing it and talking about it and seeing it on people, that will come through in the design and in the way the customer feels at the end of the day. All of that will come through. Like, you won't be able to hide it. Like, you can try, but you will not be able to hide that. So if there's bullshit like wrapped up in it, like you're gonna undo your box when you get it from me, and like just kind of feel that and know that. So I don't know if LA makes it chill or not. I don't know if my approach makes it chill or not, but I think like with certainty, I can say the goal of all of this when I first started was I just didn't have clothes that I liked, and fashion wasn't fun for me. It was really hard. And the more I talked to friends, they felt the same. And I was like, all right, well, like this doesn't have to happen. And I think that getting dressed in like fashion should be fun. And I feel like fashion has been sort of taken away from the queer community in a way where like you can be humiliated by it, you know? And I don't want that to happen to people ever, because it happened to me a lot. And so that's what keeps it, is to like just remember that like it's supposed to be fun. Like, this is an art form to me that is highly commercial. Like, you don't have to write a song and be a musician. You don't have to buy art or paint, but you do like have to buy and wear clothes unless you're in a nudist colony. And so if you have to do it, then like let's engage in this. Let's like, again, be enthusiastic about it. Like, pick out what you like put it on, be like, I'm choosing this and I feel awesome about it. And, you know, I think a lot of it comes from like a defensive standpoint that I operated off of a lot of my life, of having to like sort of defend what I was wearing and why I was wearing it, because people didn't get it at first. And then once you kind of break through that, it's just fun. It's just be fun. Like,
I mean, simple. You're very fun. You're making me feel very fun. I think, I think fashion, it's tricky because, especially if you're not conforming from like a gender binary that fashion has created for you, i.e. the women's or the men's section, and that there's two sections and whatever, or color palette or what have you, then we get into like the whole size debacle where sizes are so inconsistent and are so in the zeitgeist, especially for, I think, anyone really. I know myself, just coming from a position of like doing a lot on camera shit, like being feminine, I was told that the smaller I was, the better it was, clothes got better when they were smaller. Do you know what I mean? And so there's all these barriers to entry, which is I mean, this isn't eloquent, but like, it's just fucking annoying. Like, it really is annoying, you know?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's challenging and it's frustrating. And you can only take so much of that before you want to quit. And a lot of people that I know have quit and they do not want to, they can't be bothered with this. They don't want to try. They don't think it's for them. They feel left out. And they don't want to say they feel left out, but they know inside that they are left out because they have tried, failed, been humiliated, gotten frustrated. And that makes you want to quit. And they go, I'm not a fashion person. Fashion is not for me. I would just wear what's comfortable. But it can be more than that, you know?
What drew you? So you go to USC.
Yeah.
You have had this career, and then all of a sudden you were on season 2, Next in Fashion with Gigi Hadid, who her voice is so wild to me. I love it. I mean, she's beautiful.
Yeah, she's awesome. She is so awesome. She's the loveliest person I've ever met.
And then you have Tan France, who's like little Thumbelina. Put him in your pocket. Just the best.
Also terrific. Yeah.
Terrific. But like, how did you get on reality TV? Like, how did this happen?
Yeah. That was crazy. I really don't know that. Like, I don't know that I have like caught up to what my life is now because it just happened so fast, and I feel like I'm still sort of like, what?
Also, what kind of construction were you into? Because I have a lot of projects for you. Or if you have a general contractor, I will do anything. I will cook for you and your partner, if you have one or whoever, for the rest of your lives. Just if anyone is wondering, you cannot find general contractors in Los Angeles. Anyway,
no, it's hard. I was a concrete engineer, so I did architectural and structural concrete. So
cool. I got some shit. Do you know how to build a pool by any chance?
Maybe.
Tight. James, come on over.
I can still pull it out. But yeah, the way the show came up was a colleague of mine was like, hey, I heard about this show and I think you would be great for it. And I was like, no, thanks. I'm good. Actually, I was working as a designer at Elder Statesman, and we did like super funky, super high-end cashmere knit sweaters.
Yes.
Love Elder Statesman. So I was working there in the design department. It was awesome. And I was like, I'm good. I don't need to go on TV. I don't need this. And I was building my brand already, you know, nights and weekends. But I was like, I'm not going on reality TV. There's no way. And she sort of convinced me to just throw my name in the hat. And I don't know what happened. That just Netflix called and I was on the next round and the next round. And the next thing I knew, I was like on set, lights, not a whole bunch of cameras, and Gigi and Tan are walking through being like, hey, you're on the season 2 Next in Fashion. Like, here's your first challenge, like go. And I was like, oh, what have I done? You know, like it was
the challenge of it all freaks
crazy.
Me out. Like, I even watch it. I don't watch like a lot of challenge reality. I love like Chopped on the Food Network. I've watched every single episode, and then RuPaul's Drag Race. But like the sewing, I would have been like, what? I think because I went to art school, it brings me back to, and I changed majors. I actually went, well, it's like, who cares about my story? But I had many different. And at one point, totally. I was in the interior design program. And I will never forget. It was like 4, maybe 5 in the morning. And I'm like trying to put together my end of semester model. And I just was like, you know what? I like can't do this. I don't know how to fucking do this. Yeah. I'm gluing this shit. This is so fucking hard. And so I ended up like writing a whole paper about like what my aesthetic was and whatever. And that professor, Francis, who was lovely, was like, yeah, you should go into the journalism program. I was like, fair enough, buddy. But I just think of like doing the fucking color wheels and like all this shit. But being under the pressure of my own self, because I had to have a job, I had to whatever. Going on national television and being like, you have 4 hours to construct a wedding gown out of fucking plants or like newspaper or like doggy bags or like water bottles. I'd be like, you know what? This was so cool. I'm out. But you rose to the occasion.
I can't really even believe I did it. I still haven't watched the show, so I don't even really like, I lived it. Like, I know what happened, but I have no idea what it looks like edited on a TV show. So
why didn't you watch it?
I don't know. I just never really occurred to me. Like, friends have been like, you should watch the show. And I'm like, I know what happens. You know?
But you don't want to like just see this is why you're a sweetie little baby, because you're not a narcissist.
I don't think so. No, yeah.
You're not, because
No.
I would totally be like, I need to see what I look
this,
like.
Right?
Yeah.
My friends watched the first episode with me, and we had a good laugh. And then I was like, "Great,
I'm out."
yeah, everybody go home." Yeah, but yeah, I mean, my experience on the show was I still can't really believe it. I did any of that because you don't really have a choice at that moment. You do not have a choice. You don't have a choice but to do it and complete it. And you will come to like stops in the road where you're like, that's not working how I wanted it to. But you just have to like go around it and find something else that does work. And like, you just kind of keep plugging away at it. And honestly, the outside world is suspended from you. Like, you don't have to think about, like, I have a dog to take care of, but like, I didn't have to think about taking my dog out, for midday
Who took care of Sam?
I had a friend watch Sam while I was there. But yeah, so like, it puts you in like a hyper focused opportunity where like you don't have anything else you have to worry about except for making this thing. And so if you can approach it again from a place of like, this is a once in a million lifetime opportunity to like make something and be like, this is the best I got, and then show it to Gigi and Tan and be like, y'all like it? Like, if you approach it from that, we're like, look, this is gonna suck or it's gonna be awesome, and either way you're not gonna die.
No,
just like throw it up to your best and then see if you get to stay to do the next one. If you don't, you did your best. Just move on.
I mean, I also think I'm too anxious. Like, were you in a hotel?
Mm-hmm.
No. Mm-mm. I would also have to really understand what hotel they're putting me at. I am too anxious. Remember, we were talking before we started recording, we missed each other at the Netflix Pride party because the two of us, you and I, were probably like looking for the nearest exit because we were anxious that we were in a nightclub on a Wednesday in the middle of fucking West Hollywood, being like, what are we doing? And with like, were you there though when the people came down with the bubbles out of the sky?
No.
Oh, you missed that?
I missed it.
Yeah, it was weird.
Huh.
The whole thing was something. It was fun, but it was a lot. Yeah, I don't know how you did it. You have to, you clearly have a lot of self-discipline and a lot of focus, because I don't know. I guess you're right. Maybe you do rise to the occasion and you're like, you know what?
Yeah, you'd be great. I'm sure you'd be great.
No, I would Ria.
Totally
I would just put bags all over my body, and
we can do like a mock session. I'll throw a timer down. I'll get a bunch of cameras. Let's do it.
And be careful, because I'm still supposed to do a mock Chopped episode with Tiffany Faison. So don't
tempt me.
James, I'm in it to win it.
I'll be Gigi and Tan, and I'll give you a prompt and a timer and some like surprise materials, and we'll see what you got. And I guarantee you would be able to make something that you would be so proud of. We'll try.
Okay, we'll try.
We'll try it.
I was looking at your Instagram, both of them, your personal, and then also obviously your brand, Rowena Social Club, which I love that. I'm assuming named after the street in Los Angeles.
That's right. Not many people get that reference, but that's exactly right.
Oh, my dog's old vet was right off Rowena.
Oh, yeah.
Right by the Gelsons,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
It shut down. It's not.
Oh, did it? Oh.
Yeah, it did. Anyway, great street. But I was looking at your Instagram. I was looking at both. And I was looking at the comments from people that I would assume you don't know.
Okay.
No, they were all lovely. It was like lovely.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I didn't. Well, whatever I found what led me.
Yeah, you found the good ones.
I found the good ones. But what I saw a lot of was a lot of other queer, what I am assuming kids, really anyone that's under the age of 40 as a kid. I mean, I'm under 40. I just want to preface that really quickly. But I'm like, kids. A lot of queer kids talking about how important it was for them to see you on Netflix and to see you in and I would even take it a step further, even if some of the comments didn't specifically say this, a fashion show. And how the clothes that you made were like exactly what they were looking for. And they really felt seen by your designs and who you presented yourself to be, which I'm going to argue is probably yourself, because you don't seem like a monster on the show. What does that feel like? Because that must be crazy, especially you give me a little bit of a shy vibe, even though I feel like you're a secret model, but whatever. That must be kind of wild, having strangers reach out and say how much you mean to them.
Yeah, it's a very weird experience. I certainly didn't expect the volume of the number of responses, and like you're seeing the comments, but even more so are the DMs, and even more so are the DMs that like go straight to a folder that I like can't even find anymore. You know what I mean? I expected and hoped. I didn't expect it, but I hoped that the result of me going on that show, which was not something I wanted to do really for myself or for the brand, but I ultimately decided to do it because I was like, what a game changer this would have been for me if I was like 8 or 14 or 16 and I saw me go up there and be like, I'm James and this is what I used to, have to roll around in to family weddings and stuff. But now I'm doing it this way. I would have been like, hey, parents, I would just show them that episode and be like, can we get me into something like that for next Easter, And it would have saved, again, like a lot of humiliation and a lot of like I can't even look at my childhood photos. Like, to me, that's trash. Like, my life started just a few years ago when I could live the way I wanted to live. And so, again, I didn't have expectations, but I wanted the result of me going up there to tell my story and ultimately putting it in Netflix hands to help me tell my story was to be like, this is just the honest reality of it. This is what it was like. And this is what I sort of like grew up into. And I'm happy. Yeah. And I have a cool job. And like, it's no big deal. And, I have people who want to hire me. And there's people who want to be my friend. And there's people who want to, you know what I mean? And you're going to have that too. You're going to have people who want to hire you and who think you're awesome and who want to be your friend. And so like, to just try to take some of the shame of being trans out of the equation was the whole goal, by doing nothing other than being like, this is me, this is my name, this is what I do. And if you like my work, great, thank you. Like, this is about fashion, first and foremost. And for me, it was ultimately about like, this is just what I needed to wear. And this is a new thing that I haven't seen people doing in fashion. And here's why I think it's important. And that was it. And so the response was like, like a total tsunami. I mean, for weeks after the show, weeks and weeks, and dragged into months, it was endless. I mean, it was endless. I couldn't open my phone. Like, Instagram was like shut down. Like, I couldn't keep up. I can't keep up to writing back. I want to write back, but like, I can't. But like, I see a lot.
You wrote back to my DM.
I did. I got you. I'm catching up still, I swear.
I think you and I have just a wee bit of friends in common. So maybe I got floated. I think I got floated up. So even my sister's old nanny follows you, or you follow them.
That's awesome.
I know. So weird, right? I had a pride party and I forgot to eat that day. Classic Liz Cully maneuver. And I had a couple of glasses of wine. We were walking around and I just kept looking over and I'm like, there is no way, because my sister lives in New York. I was like, I feel like that was my sister's nanny. But this is like a very gay. Like, I was like, this is queer as all motherfucking hail. And I kept looking at her and she was like, oh my God, are you Rebecca Cully's sister? Which never happens. Not that my sister's not cool, but like, let's be honest. And I was like, yes. And she follows you. So
that is so wild.
It's very wild.
Yeah.
When you're the deep cuts, when you're getting like, siblings, nannies as a follow.
It's super flattering. Like, I don't really know what to do with it still yet. I really Homer Simpson into the bushes for a while immediately following the show, because I just didn't know what to do. And there were so many people that I was like, I don't know what you want from me. And so it took me a really long time to like get back to like the integrity of myself, of like, what do I want to do with this platform? What do I want to say? And like how do I operate on Instagram in a way that feels like that still is authentic, even though it's like, whoa, this is like a lot. It's a lot of pressure, or it's.
Well, I think it also becomes intense.
Different.
I mean, I haven't been on national TV, which really is a crime, quite frankly. But that's rather here nor there. But I've shared a lot about, the sexual assault I've gone through. I've talked a lot about being the child of an alcoholic. I talk about all my shit all the live long day because it helps me. And to your point, I think people just sharing how multidimensional everyone is. We all obviously, I think, start to see ourselves in all of us, right? But I even have gotten some DMs in my life where I'm like, damn. And I like take them on, which is so not my responsibility and what I should do, but I can't help it. So I can understand how overwhelming that could be, especially when you're on this like massive platform, that's Netflix, and then having like Tan France and Gigi Hadid attached, it would be a lot. But I really loved it when I was scrolling about, because I'm like, wow, that's like so lovely. You know, it's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so grateful for doing for the show and for Tan and Gigi's like just absolutely awesome support. They were like the best possible people. I think both of them have a very deep drive to support creativity. And I think they both really do love fashion. And I think both of them with their experience have seen so much fashion that they are really craving what's new. And so they're like genuinely so supportive of like young and up and coming designers. So those two together were so great to be like, we see what you're doing. We love it. Do more of that. Be weirder. I could see myself in this. Like, get as crazy as you want. And to have someone say that to you who is like massive pillar of the fashion industry is like such just a spirit lift. You're like, okay, maybe I am doing something right, you know? Because like I don't think I'm shit. Like I think I'm like I'm like, who am I? Why do I deserve to why do I know what's cool and good? Like I don't, you know, like that's like my self-talk that's like terrible. And so I think the show did a lot of support and work for all of us to like get our confidence. And just be encouraged. Cause like I didn't go to fashion school, like never once was a professor, let's say like A+, like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like I never had that. So I'm out here just like making it up, you know, the only thing you have to tell you if you're making something that's desirable is customers, you know, and that's
right.
Great. That means sales, but to have like the big Tan and Gigi are like the pantheon of the fashion industry. You know what I mean? They're like, that's,
they're pretty, yeah, I would say
Donatella
Gigi,
Versace was on the first episode. I was like, what? I
would have shit myself. I mean, Donatella Versace for me, like I could have borderline gone Andrew Cunanan. Like I would have been like, come into my room and lock the door. And then she like never would have gotten out. I mean, just iconic. Crazy totally. Stuff. Speaking of celebrities, I love to ask this question, especially actually, because you know who I met at that Netflix Pride party.
Oh, who?
I met Mal from the like Swaparoo love show, the queer women. What is it? Well, I should know this because we all went viral together. Anyway, I met them all that day. And I was standing with Karamo. That's why it's weird I didn't meet you, because I was like in that crew. It doesn't matter. I was standing with Karamo. Mal was there. My wife was there. And I was like, you have to promise that if you like blow up, you have to give me your first interview. And Mal did. Mal came right on.
That's awesome.
Right on. Cool. But I love to ask this question, especially people who get famous on reality TV.
Okay.
You clearly have all these DMs from all these little sweetie baby angel queer kids, which I just love. You did get a DM from me, which, you know, who's the most famous person who reached out to you after the show?
Oh, that is honestly a very good question and a very hard question to answer.
Why? It's not hard. Rattle a few off for us, James. It's not that hard.
Well, let's see. Here's what's hard about it. I don't know a lot of celebrity names or faces or actors by any means, but Emily V. Gordon started following me, and that was like really, really cool.
Who's
that was
Emily V. Gordon?
Emily V. Gordon. She's a writer and an actress. And
oh boy, deep cut. Oh, solid. Yes. Oh my god.
Solid.
Well, isn't Emily? Yes, exactly. Cool.
Yeah, and then there's I met
Big Sick.
I met like JVN and like
it's a good one.
Became, got to meet him and spend some time. And then I don't know. There's so many. Like I don't really the people who follow me now are like out of my league. Do you know what I mean? Like way out of my league.
Well, can you give us some names?
I'm so bad at names.
Oh,
so
brother.
Let's see. I need to like look.
Let's look.
Can I look?
Yeah, look right now.
Okay. All right.
I just love this.
For this.
Oh my god, you really are just a kind little soul, aren't you?
Okay.
I'd have it on deck. I'd be like, boom, boom, boom. Who do we? Oh god, you and I have so many.
Do we have people in common?
So many. Yeah, because you did. Yeah, including
most
my
famous?
sisters.
There's going to be some people who like I didn't know of at all, but they followed me.
Mhm.
But then they had like millions of followers and they're like musicians.
Okay,
And I
let's
was
hear
like,
it.
oh, that's interesting. I don't know. I couldn't find their names. I mean, I'd have to
Oh
like,
boy. All right.
yeah,
Well, let's
I
come back
know.
to this. Jesus Christ.
I know. How do I find, do I go through like people who follow me maybe?
Yeah, you're too good. You're too good for this world.
I'm not a good one for this. I think my most famous person who I
Joey Lister Jones.
Who's that?
Zoe Lister Jones. That's a big one.
Oh, I just met her, I think.
Wait, you follow Julia Fox. Does Julia Fox follow you?
No, I don't think so. But we met once.
At the Netflix party?
Yeah. She was so friendly.
Yeah, she's chill. You have to get this answer together. I'm just telling you for your next press tour.
Let's see. Who was I like most excited about?
Liz Cully. I'm just kidding.
Okay. I'll give you one. This one means a lot to me. This one, wait. No, I'm following them. I'm so sorry. I'm bad at this. Teddy Santis. Teddy Santis is not like the most famous person in the world, but he is the creative director of Aimé Leon d'Or.
Yeah.
And everyone loves that brand. He's a fantastic creative director. He's like totally started a cultural wave. I don't think he follows me, so I don't know why I said that.
Whatever. He's going to follow you now. Hey.
I'm looking at the wrong like list.
This is great.
Man, you really got me on this one. I totally botched. Oh my God,
I'm so sorry. You did it. It's great. You know what it shows? It shows your pure soul. Because I don't have one. But actually, another thing I found whilst diving into your Instagram, you've definitely worn a tie or two in your past. Not really recently. But I would like to applaud and commend you because I have not seen many bow ties. And I would like to talk about how triggering in the queer community I find bow ties. And
talk to me about bow ties because I think we might align on this.
Why? I'm like getting my body together.
So
why do all queer people, no matter whatever gender they are, I don't care, whatever it is, you could be completely gender fluid, non-binary. Why are y'all wearing bow ties? Enough with the bow ties.
I have two bow ties. One was purchased specifically to officiate a friend's wedding. It's a white bow tie, self-tie.
Hot. That's different.
Super formal. The only other bow tie I own is a black bow tie, also self-tie, that is like a vintage bow tie that I also wore to a wedding for a friend because it was a black tie wedding. Other than that, I do not own any bow ties. And actually, I can't really stand bow ties. I'm from Kentucky. I've seen every possible iteration of seersucker and bow ties and pink and paisley. I've seen it all. I've been to the Kentucky Derby. I've seen that aesthetic. I don't really care for them personally. I don't love the look of a bow tie dressed down. Like an Easter bow tie, not my jam. And really, I try to distance myself and the brand and the aesthetic pretty far from the look of, I hate this word, dapper. If anyone describes my brand as dapper, I have done something wrong. Like it's not dapper. If you really look at it and you understand it and you're jumping into the world that I'm creating, you're not dapper. You're not. You're a dirtbag. You're a sexy dirtbag. You're a dirtbag who knows how to wear a suit. Do you know what I mean?
You know what you are? You're a sexy dirtbag in a suit that knows how to build me my 8-foot by 5-foot pool. I was going to go pool, but your table. Yeah, you're like a hot, sexy motherfucker who knows what's what, who like might be like, I don't know. Yeah, you just like smell of like older cigarettes, but like very nice hair products that like somebody totally left in your bathroom.
Yeah.
And then like
some girl like bought them for you, but like she's not in the picture anymore. So you've got like really nice hair products and like bathroom stuff, but like you don't really know how it got.
You don't really know how to use it. You just kind of like do it.
Make it up. Yeah. I describe it as like a mixture of 7-Eleven meets Ralph Lauren Purple Label.
Oh, wait. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I can like legally say that with like all the different trademarks and like blah, blah, blahs, but that's what it is. It is 7-Eleven meets Ralph Lauren Purple Label. So like, you know, like you were taught how to wear a suit, you know how to do it if you have to, but like you'd rather be at 7-Eleven. But like you can do it, and that's that like range I'm talking about. Like the brand has range.
Because let me
you
tell
want
you,
to be able to have range.
Ralph Lauren Purple Label, really, I really think like some of the best that ever was, quite frankly.
Totally, so, some of the best suiting that like exists. Yeah, I like the American suiting over like the British style. I like the American stuff, and yeah. But I'm also a dirtbag. I love Crocs. I wear Crocs every day, and not in like a cool, like streetwear kid way. I wear Crocs because like I walk the dog and like go to the garden, and they like might get a little wet. Like I wear Crocs for the intended purpose. Like not cool.
God,
you know
if I wasn't in such a like almost 10-year committed relationship, I'd be like, James, do you want to get married to me? Should we get married? But it would have to be another life and another time because I am a committed woman. But maybe we should just be best friends.
I also, speaking of DMs, I got a lot of wedding proposals, marriage proposals in my DMs, which was pretty funny.
Confirming that was not for me.
Right.
I just asked you to come on the show.
Totally. Right.
That can be confirmed. But after this, dirtbag stuff, like I would just like to say, I'm thinking about like all of the people that like broke my heart who I've had sex with. And it was like very much all of those, regardless of gender, since I am bisexual and don't care about gender at all. But I'm like, take gender out of it. And yes, every single person was like disheveled, but so hot, like might have had a cocaine problem in the past and like might have a couple years sober or like might not anymore. Like just like might have like taken a skateboard to work at some point. Like,
I think I've probably done that. Yeah. But now doesn't. So there's also like I will say like an added, take all that you just said and then throw in like a pretty healthy dose of like a wholesome disposition. You know what I mean? Like, and then add put a sunny disposition from there.
Yeah.
So like, it's always like two very different ideas that are like pulling each other apart, but sort of bringing them together that I like design from. And that's what creates like the vibe of the brand, which is like what you said. It's like, it's that like dirtbag that you like sort of love to hate, but you like can't quit. But
can't quit them.
They're like polished now, or they can clean up really nicely when they have to, but they'd like rather not, but they can like jump on a horse in any moment. Or like, I used to say like my personal style is like, I'm ready to catch a football like at any given moment. Like I am never not ready to just like join a flag football game. Like there's the sports department is like strong at Rowena, and then like I said, like a sunny disposition, like a wholesome nature to it, because I see so many brands that are like bad boy, you know what I mean? And they're like, that's cool. And they're like the dark, and it's cool to be, edgy and like reserved. And I'm like, I'm not like that. And that's not going to come through. So I think it's cool to be really enthusiastic about the stuff you think is cool and right. And I think that puts like this weird twist of lime, like this weird, like modern twist of lime on like something that we like have seen and know and love, which is like the dirtbag. Right. But then like, what if he was like a good guy though, for real, And then I think that's sort of like where it comes from.
Feeling a lot of feelings right now myself. I see it. I really also want to task myself next time I'm twiddling about in the garden to really rip apart my own brand as a person and really understand my dualities, because I really think they're there, and I really love this exercise.
They're going to be like once you can harness them and you see them, there's so much there for you, as a person, as your dualities, because everybody has them. And I think we don't like put them together. We like try to be like, no, I'm not that. I'm not that. I'm this. I'm not that. I'm this. But it's like, no, man, you're both. And it's cool.
There are no words, James. I'm speechless. I'm really speechless.
Put those Crocs on, take a walk in the garden. No, let me know what your dualities
are. Crocs? Look how cool these are. No, these are like some brand cool ones, but they're like all completely glittery. I'm the kind of here's the thing about me. I will be in like sweats, but everything's a little either like glittery or weird or like vintage or a color or like I went out the other day And Rachel was like, what the fuck are you wearing? I'm like, really? I like what I'm wearing. And it was a vintage Janet Jackson concert shirt that was like all different colors,
Cool.
bright pink, crazy palazzo pants. She did sing the Aladdin theme song at me, which was ridiculous. These crazy glitter Crocs. And then I had my old vintage, beautiful, beautiful pistachio mint green Prada Messenger and like vintage Thierry Lasserie glasses that were this big and turquoise.
Yes.
And she was like, what are you wearing? And I was like,
awesome.
thank you. And I was like, I have to go to the farmer's market. And she's like, what is this? And I'm like, I don't know. These are just all the fucking clothes that I had crumpled up on the chair in the corner. But I get it. I tell
you what, I tell my styling clients all the time, use grocery stores and farmers markets as you're like test driving an outfit. Like if you're like gonna take a risk, just throw it on and try it on in the grocery store. No one cares. No one's gonna see you. No one's looking at you. See if you were like comfortable in it. If you're comfortable in it at a grocery store by yourself, then be like, okay, I'm good with this. Then you can go out and have the confidence and, like I said, the enthusiasm to when your friends are like, what are you wearing? To be like, I'm awesome. This is awesome. Fuck you. You know,
James, you're fucking awesome.
There's a risk though that you sort of were getting onto when you were describing that outfit though, of like that I always am tiptoeing around, which is when my brand is put together wrong, it can look like just a clothing rack at like any Goodwill. Like it can look really hodgepodge because the aesthetics are like, I'm pulling from like leather jacket biker stuff. I'm pulling from tailoring. I'm pulling from grandma's curtains vibe. I'm pulling from, you know, like tailoring and like.
But I feel like you have to let that go. You do have to be careful. But I think that's with anything. I think like, to be honest with you, sometimes like at least it's hodgepodge where people can like gravitate to a piece as opposed to, I really find a lot of women, specifically the monochromatic brand look, very unfortunate these days.
I'm over it.
So I would say I will take hodgepodge over like matchy, and I don't have to put any thought through it. Any day, all day.
All
like,
day.
Give me the
I can't look at another millennial Instagram brand with like rounded edges and like a soft neutral color palette that's like gradients and like aesthetically pleasing and it's been put together. And I'm like, I don't know what this brand is. I'll never remember the name. There's 15 million like it. I don't care. It means nothing to me. I don't feel a single amount of emotion about it. I can't attach to any of this at all. Like I'm out. No, thank you. I just can't. I can't do it.
Well, yeah, that's why everybody has to go over and follow you, Rowena Social Club.
Exactly.
And yeah, I love it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. This was fun.
I really firmly believe I could have talked to James for another 2 hours. Like, what an infectious personality. How fun. How awesome. Just like the cutest of all time, quite frankly. Is my crush like so obvious? Oh my God, Rachel, don't get mad. Just kidding. But I really loved how we discussed, you know, truly talking about individuality, the issues that a lot of queer folks have in dressing themselves, and a lot of people who just like don't necessarily subscribe to like what's popular, which I love. Make sure to check out Rowena Social Club. And yeah, I think we can expect some very big things from James coming.